Well, it's February 1st, and it's looking like the crisis in the Middle East is on the de-escalation side of things. Why? Because the United States knows that if it attacked Iran, they would be completely engulfed in battles all across the Middle East. Even with their advanced equipment, the battle would be very costly. Hezbollah, the Houthis, the National Guard in Iran, Iraq, and every other militia group warned the United States, if you attack Iran, no military base in the Middle East would be safe. In an all-out battle, the United States would probably win, but the cost of military equipment and personnel lives would be too costly, and it would be political suicide in the United States. It would also result in Exxon, Halliburton, Chevron, and every other oil company operating in the Middle East to get the boot, causing economic collapse in the United States. So nobody has to get their jerry cans out and get any fuel, because fuel's not going to go up anytime soon now. Starting Tuesday, China, Iran, and Russia will be hosting joint military operations near the Strait of Hormuz and in the Strait of Hormuz as a show to the global community that the Middle East is under new management. Key things happened today that Israel knows that it's pretty much game over. Israel opened up the Rafah border to allow children and other people, civilians that were injured, to seek aid in Egypt. And once the media sees all the children injured, it'll be a media frenzy globally. The United States will sell military equipment to Israel. Now, this is a big shift from what's been going on in the past. To give you a better understanding, the United States has always provided aid to Israel on the taxpayer dollar. And that aid can be exchanged, that aid credit can be exchanged for military equipment. And it also is one of the ways that Israel provides free health care and free pensions to all its military soldiers, such as the IDF. So while American citizens are suffering from a lack of health care, their tax dollars are paying for another country's health care. But instead of the United States providing aid, it'll now directly sell to Israel. So Israel will have to use its own citizens' tax dollars to purchase equipment from the United States, which is a significant shift in how things used to operate. It's been publicly noted that there's been 79,000 casualties in Gaza, and Israel just up and admitted publicly, yeah, we did that, which is, they've always been in denial. They've always denied it to the global community, but now they're saying, yeah, we did that. Unofficial talks have begun between the United States and Iran, but no sit-down official talks yet. And the critical part about that is Israel is left out to the side. They're not included in all this. Why all this matters is the United States is slowly distancing themselves from Israel, and Israel is the major reason why all of this happened in the Middle East to begin with. And it also means that AIPAC is losing power over the United States government. And that influence and power and control they had over the United States government is starting to evaporate. But the United States won't completely abandon Israel, because Israel is too much of a critical strategic point for the United States to project power in the Middle East. But I don't know how long that's going to last either. So the likelihood of things escalating in the Middle East now is significantly lower than what it was a few days ago. So the next likely steps will happen is probably they will start negotiations officially, and the United States has to save face. So they're going to have to come up with some kind of deal. And the deal will most likely be that Iran will agree not to pursue weapons-grade nuclear armament. And in return, all sanctions will probably be dropped on Iran, something that the people of Iran sorely need. On a side note, all of this could have been avoided if Trump just kept the agreement Biden had with Iran. But because it was Biden's agreement with Iran, he scrapped it. And Iran had no choice but to start developing and refining weapons-grade uranium again. And all the sanctions went down on Iran, and the people were suffering. So this was a crisis manufactured by Trump. And it's still going to result in the same deal that was already previously in place. So all this chaos was for nothing. And the end result is just Trump has bought time for all the oil companies that are owned by the United States, bought them time to remain in Israel, in the Middle East. But because of Trump now, there's going to be a slow exodus of oil companies in the Middle East that are owned by the United States to be replaced by Russia and China oil companies. So Trump's big, beautiful plans have backfired and now turned over the Middle East to new superpowers. In the United States, Trump is running on borrowed time. More and more mainstream media are broadcasting anti-Trump segments. They're actually reporting the news that's actually happening in the States. Whereas previously, after they were threatened that their licenses were going to be taken away, they stopped broadcasting anything that was anti-Trump. So there's a real big shift there. The MAGAs and the America First fractions in the United States, they are completely turning against Donald Trump. Their social medias are quite ridiculous. It's a massive breakup. So they're bashing him. They're going all out against him. Protests haven't stopped. In fact, they have gotten worse. The Epstein dump and the files are getting worse and worse and worse. And another thing has happened is there's a massive layoff from every major corporation in the United States, which signals the economic collapse is starting. Why all of that is important? It shows that everybody knows that Trump is wounded and he's bleeding. And everybody is circling around, just waiting to strike the wounded animal. The prey has now become, or how does that saying go? The hunted is now the hunted. Or the prey is now the hunt. I don't know. Whatever it goes. Once the Trump administration goes down, the conservative maple MAGAs in Canada, such as Pierre Poilievre, the Alberta Separatists, the Alberta Prosperity Project, the BC Prosperity Project, they're going to lose all of their financial resources coming from the States and all of their support. So they're going to be left abandoned by the United States and won't be a huge threat to Canada. They'll still be a threat, but the level of threat they pose to Canada will significantly decrease. Now, after all the dust has settled, the United States has a chance to recreate its society that is more fair and equitable to everyone in the United States. No more of this top 1% getting away with everything. In fact, if they act right, the top 1% of the people in the United States will start paying their fair share into society. they have a chance to straighten their laws so this can't happen again. And in Canada, we also have that chance too. With Maple MAGA weekend, Canada has the opportunity to strengthen its laws so we safeguard our democracy, because believe it or not, our legislative structure and our laws have less checks and balances than the United States. So let's say Pierre Poilievre came in last election with a majority government. It would have taken him, 2 weeks, maybe 2 months, to completely take control of Canada, where it's taken Trump more than a year and is still not there yet. So members of parliament, you have a chance that's coming to strengthen our democracy and make legislative changes so things that happened in the United States can never happen here in Canada. Don't squander that chance. Make sure you capitalize on it and make legislative changes to ensure democracy and fairness in this country moving forward in the future. And I have no doubt that Mark Carney and whoever is in charge and whoever is interested in safeguarding our democracy will do that. In closing, the unsung hero in all of this chaos is Mark Carney. And I'm not trying to bolster the man, but literally, nobody in the world knew how to deal with Trump. Everybody was capitulating to him. Everybody was caving to him. But him, on the world stage, he was calm, collective, and calculating. And it's that reassurance that he demonstrated to the rest of the global community that the global community followed his lead. And it also strengthened and emboldened the rest of the entire global community to follow suit with Mark Carney. Like Mark Carney said, there's a new world order, and there is. Middle powers are going to stick together and also develop themselves to remain autonomous so they are not totally relying and dependent on any other one country moving forward. Well, I hope my analysis calms your anxiety and fears of the future. The future is very bright. Are there going to be things that happen that scare you? Yeah, probably, because Trump isn't going down without a fight. But in the larger, grander scale of things are looking good. Anyways, stay deadly.